running against the wind. We were young and strong.
Welcome back to our daily show on this beautiful Monday morning in downtown Alton. Chris, Kevin in studio. Grow Solar. Now, Chris, you've been on the show a couple of times. Kevin, we've talked before, and this is really cool. I saw you at the Earth Tones Festival last Saturday,
right,
and so many people seemed interested in this program. Fill us in, guys. This seems like a great opportunity.
Well, it was great. We had a number of people who asked a lot of questions, and Kevin and I did our best to answer the questions. We had our flyer, our little cards to send for people, and it was great. We had a couple of people sign up to get an assessment. You can get a free assessment for your potential investment in a solar installation for your house, or if it's a small business, that's also applicable. And we call it's Grow Solar Metro East or Grow Solar St. Louis under the Gateway moniker. And we're just doing pretty well. This is the fourth or fifth Grow Solar program. It runs typically 5-6 months. Get as many people who sign up for a contract for solar, and that will help that will increase actually the potential discount that comes with the program.
It's one of those where the more the merrier almost at this point, correct?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, it's a two-pronged program.
Mm-hmm.
The first prong is education. We want to help people understand how to make smarter decisions about going solar, whether they go solar through our program or through someone else's program. And then the second part of that program is we have this way of folks participating in this bulk buy opportunity that allows them to save well below the market price.
Wow.
We hire a contractor by competitive bid who comes in with a below market rate for the basic package. And then as we get more people involved, we get more discounts. And that is in addition to all the incentives from the federal government and the state government that allow at least people in Illinois to save very deeply on an installation.
Absolutely. And on top of that, a perfect segue in is this Power Hour, which is really cool. This is a free informational session that really teaches you the basics of solar, its financial implications of your property, how the program works. And you guys, I'm sure, have been a part of a plethora of these Power Hours. Take us through this and take us through what we can learn in those insights that I think we really just aren't aware of.
So let's see, where to begin? That's a big question.
There was a lot of questions in that one.
We have Zoom Power Hours and we have live Power Hours. And the last one that we had here in Alton was at the Old Bakery Beer Company, and we had a good crowd of folks who were there. And Kevin handled the financial issues and provided answers to those kind of questions. And Virginia Wolf Wiley, who is a Sierra Club staff member, she handled the presentation on just how solar works to provide people with, what Solar 101 is, essentially.
And in these sessions, before we go any further into what the session entails, I'm sure you get a number of people that are at least skeptical, kind of maybe not completely against it, but just kind of on the fence. And is it pretty quick after hearing some of this information that they go, well, maybe this is exactly what we do? Is it pretty clear cut?
Well, we get some pretty positive feedback. I think most people who attend are already considering this seriously.
Right.
They might have even had bids from other solar contractors. But some of them come to learn because they know absolutely nothing. They've heard about this solar stuff. And then once in a while you do get a skeptic who comes in, and we tend to, destroy their skepticism with facts. I'll put it that way. We talk about my own personal examples. I've had solar for 12 years now.
Are you reading minds? Because that was my next question. Because I seriously was going to say I don't know a lot about solar, but I'm assuming that you do with having one. Take us through this because the floor is yours, Senator. I want to learn.
Okay, so I've had solar for 12 years on my own home. It's a system that I personally designed and built from scratch from a kit that I bought online, and that's a hard thing to do. It's something I don't recommend to everyone. I had training on how to do it. I got certified to be a solar installer because I was looking at going into the business, and I ended up deciding I was not a businessman, so instead I used the knowledge that I gleaned from all that training and that experience of installing several installations, solar installations, to help other people understand through nonprofits like MREA's Grow Solar program and like the Illinois Solar Education Association. I do speaking opportunities for them as well. In those past 12 years, I've saved thousands and thousands of dollars on my energy costs. And now I'm estimating maybe $800 a year for me. But I've got an efficient house. Some people have bigger bills than that, you know. And through our program, you can get any size that you need to help offset your own energy usage. In this area, you can use something called net metering. That subtracts the energy you produce from your Ameren bill. And Ameren is required to let you do this so that you carry over credit for your excess production from month to month. And that way, on cloudy days or at night, you get credit against your energy usage, even though your solar installation is not producing at those times. You get credit against those future bills up to 12 months.
That's really cool.
So that helps reduce your energy usage long term as well as your bills. And then when you add the incentives onto it, it saves so much. You can save 60% off your energy installation cost with the incentives in Illinois. Give or take, depending on your situation. And then in addition to that, with net metering, you're just practically eliminating your energy bills except for a monthly fee of about $10 or $15.
Well, and that's my question, because I've heard, just the discussions on solar, because I'm, like I told you guys, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not one of those that gets behind a microphone and tries to act like it. I've heard some of the, one of the arguments maybe is that it doesn't produce enough power for my house, so why do I need it if I'm just going to be paying the same or close to it? And that's not the case in your mind, opinion, huh?
No, we have hundreds of people in this area and thousands of people across the Midwest, maybe tens of thousands right now, who are taking advantage of solar energy to reduce their bills. And here in Ameren, Illinois territory, you'll never reduce your bill to zero exactly, but you can reduce that energy portion of your bill, that consumption portion, based on the kilowatt hours down to zero. And you just pay the little fees for the privilege of being connected to the Ameren grid.
Right.
Of course, if you have gas for your heating and ventilating system, that's handled separately on your bill.
Right.
But if it's all electric, you're really saving a lot of money.
And that's what it sounds like. It really sounds like there's a lot of opportunities here. It's just making sure you know the right programs and doing this the right way. And with this, what are some of the general, I hate to use the FAQ question, but some of those frequently asked questions that you guys get at these Grow Solar presentations, or those power hours, or just some that you overhear?
Well, we get a lot of questions about, can I go off grid? And our program is not about going off grid. It's about staying connected to the grid, because you're sharing power with your neighbors and helping the Illinois grid go greener. That's how you earn back some of those incentives from the state of Illinois that pays for your system. We also get a lot of questions about, let me back up. You can go off grid, but our system, we're not set up for it. You can get backup batteries that'll help you get a few hours worth of energy savings that you can use in an outage. But it's not going to let you run your whole house for days. It's a brief thing for a few hours, operating a few necessary appliances.
And so just like an example would be if there's a power outage from a winter storm, your battery could kick on for a few hours and keep you running at least a few appliances to keep you going, keep the milk fresh, all that good stuff.
Yep. You're not going to charge your car from it and all that other stuff if you have an electric car. But I normally do that, on a sunny day. You're not going to do it with one of those little backup batteries.
That makes
sense. Our program, yeah.
So since this program's been operating for the last 4 or 5 years, and typically during the summer, pretty close to 300 installations have taken place in the various municipalities around in Metro East. It's a little bit different, obviously, in St. Louis. St. Louis, it's a standalone program, was handled out of the Missouri Botanical Gardens. So, but our program is kind of based largely on using volunteers like Kevin and myself, working with the facilitator, which is called the Midwest Renewable Energy Association, and they put together the website and So we have a nice relationship with them too.
Well, it seems like it's very structured. You know, it's not, you know, a group that's just saying, here's some ways to do it. I mean, this is pretty refined to where, you know, you're going to have a very good understanding of where you stand with solar, if it's really going to be for you after especially that power hour. And one's coming up that I wanted to kind of hit on. But I wanted to ask you, because I'm just kind of, I've never looked into it. What does a solar system normally cost, maybe just a run-of-the-mill house, and you know, I know square footages are going to, you know, cause different prices and things, but let's just say for a 1,500 square foot house, kind of run of the mill here, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, maybe 3. What do you guys have a ballpark of what those normally look like?
Right, that's another one of those common questions we get. Based on my square footage, how much do I expect I'll have to spend? And it's more complicated than that. It depends on your energy usage. It depends on things like how efficient are your appliances. What kind of heating do you have? Do you have gas, or do you have heat pump, or things like that? And so the prices can vary considerably. It depends too on how you need that system installed. Does it go on your roof? Does it go on your yard, on an outbuilding, things like that. So it's really hard to answer that kind of question, despite its commonly asked nature.
But it makes sense though, because me just knowing just off the top of my it has to have been on the size of your house, but it makes sense. Where is it located? Where's the sun hitting it the most? All of that, does that go into play too?
Exactly, yeah. The direction that your installation faces matters. A lot, actually. So
this is really cool. I mean, I'm learning a lot just in the couple of minutes we've already been talking about this. And take me through real quick, just so I make sure we talk about it. There's a couple of opportunities. One virtually that's, well, I can't tell you about that one. There's one virtually on Wednesday, October the 4th from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on Zoom. And what I like is if you go to growsolar.org, and if you're in the Metro East region, it's /Metro-East, or you just go to Grow Solar Gateway and you can click on the Metro East side of things. It's really cool because it just says click here to register, and boom, you're taken care of.
Right, yeah, and registration isn't required to actually attend the in-person ones, but those online, it's best to do that. To register so that you have an easy access and a link to get in. It takes about an hour to hear the webinar that we present online or in person, and it steps you through those Solar 101 basic facts. How does it work? And then we talk about the incentives, and we talk about how our program works to reduce the cost. We have the contractor present typically to explain some of that. And bottom line for our program too is that we require that the vendor give free estimates for your home, for your project, and there is no arm twisting. There's no sales pressure. It's here's the offer. If you have questions or want to modify it a little bit and say you don't need 100% because you can't afford that, let's reduce it a little bit. You can have them build a new free estimate for you, and so it's really pain-free. We've gone to a lot of trouble to get a great vendor who has a great product line, and make sure that you don't have Rocco over your shoulder going, you're going to sign that paper.
No arm twisting. And that the price is going to be below market value. And then, of course, we explain there's a discount program. As we get more and more installations, we get a larger and larger discount. We can get up over 3% discount if you got, how many kilowatt hours, I'm not sure, but a large number of installations can potentially give you another discount of 3% on your...
We've already crossed our first threshold for a discount of 0.5% on top of the already low price, and we're moving towards that second threshold. We hope to hit that pretty soon.
Okay, really cool. Do you guys have a moment to hang out with me for a second? I got to pay a quick bill. We'll come back with more of this fantastic conversations, ways that you can go in person right here in the city of Alton if you're here in the Metro East to go to that power hour. We'll talk about the incentives a little bit more, and we'll just discuss growing solar, because I'm really fascinated, and I think this is a great program that we need to keep learning more about. That conversation continues next after this.
Here at Modified Auto Sound, we are an automotive customizing shop that specializes in car audio, window tinting, and other truck and Jeep accessories. So as an interested customer, we always recommend that you just stop in the shop. Check us out at 241 Eastgate Plaza, right off of Route 3 in East Alton, Illinois. At Modified Auto Sound, there's no such thing as strangers, just friends we haven't met.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you. For the biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend, visit AltonToyota.com or stop by their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Mungan Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Mungan Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend, and now Mungan Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Lennox system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt, professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vent.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Right now, baby, it's all right now. All right now, baby, it's all right now.
Wow. Welcome back to this fantastic conversation. Grow Solar Gateway region, but most specifically, right now we're talking about the Metro East, because if you were in the Alton area, Metro East area coming up, tentatively, I think is the right word for this, on Thursday, September the 28th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the City of Alton Council Chambers at 101 East 3rd Street. This is co-hosted by the City of Alton. And do you guys have a lot of these events or power hours that are co-sponsored or co-put on by a village, municipality, or city?
A certain number. You have to keep in mind that people will need to sign up by November 18th. Okay, so the program does have a cutoff date, and so we're talking about another month and a half, 2 months for people to
get
learn
involved
about the program and possibly invest in the solar system.
And that's why it really is important, if you guys do have the time coming up, like I said, tentatively set for the 28th, but Kevin, we were talking that it might be pushed back a week.
It might be on the 18th or the 25th of October we're looking at now. So stay tuned to that website and stay up to date on that.
Good call to action always. And, I like this. Before we go into some of the incentives, I want to go by the numbers a little bit, because I'm a numbers guy. I always go back to let's look at them, and that's how I determine an opinion. Well, listen to this. Over almost 1,200 people have attended solar power hours so far since 2016. 234 properties added solar. 2,266 kilowatts of solar have been installed. And then, it's just incredible. I didn't even realize some of these numbers that you have here at the bottom of the website. Every year, listen to this for the folks at home. I just want to keep going. I'm on a roll right now. Every year it's like this, avoiding, 4,843,056 miles driven by the average passenger vehicle. 2,129,936 pounds of coal burned, or like 81,995 trash bags recycled rather than landfilled. I see those numbers, and that's what gets me excited, because you can see some of those resources and how they're helping and benefiting our environment.
Absolutely, yeah. Are you looking at the Metro East page or the Gateway page?
Metro East page right here.
And it's even more impressive numbers when you look at the numbers combined with St. Louis.
Oh, I bet.
There are a total of about 404 properties together since 2016 that have gone solar, and the St. Louis group is really accelerating these days.
And what's your reasoning for the growth or acceleration of solar? Is it just some of those faux pas or maybe misconceptions going away? Is it just time and people are more used to it now? What's your reasoning, do you guys think, for that?
Well, it's a culture in a way, because people getting used to it, getting in the groove, as it were. Becoming more aware of climate change and how much they can save by going with renewable energy, such as solar and wind and geothermal. But our focus is totally on solar.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Well, and take me through some of the incentives, because Kevin and Chris, you guys have talked a little bit about those, but I don't think, because to me, it's hard for me to comprehend the incentive whenever I don't see it on paper. So can you go a little bit more in depth on some of the, just the things you two have experienced with your incentives as well?
Sure. So the federal government offers a 30% incentive on your entire solar project back in terms of a tax incentive, the investment tax, what's it called, ITC. So that applies both in Missouri and in Illinois, obviously. But then in Illinois, we're lucky here because the state of Illinois offers something called Solar Renewable Energy Credits, or SRECs. These represent the green value to the Illinois electric grid for the state of Illinois, and they're willing to pay you for that. That can vary because it's based on the amount of energy your installation produces. It's not based on how much it costs or how much you make or anything like that. Purely on how much it costs. State of Illinois is willing to pay you for a market value per kilowatt hours over 15 years worth of production. So your solar installer, in this case, the vendor we've selected by competitive bid, will predict how much energy is going to be produced in 15 years. And multiply that by this market rate that the state of Illinois has set, and that's a dollar amount. You get that dollar amount in the form of a check the following year after your project is in production and putting energy on the grid. So that can amount to about another 30%, but it might be 20 or, it can vary
Plus or minus.
It could be 60%, and that's like 2/3 of your investment being covered, so.
Wow. Yeah. And we were talking during the break, and both of you guys have had solar for quite a few years now. Chris, you were saying you had 29 panels?
Yes.
And Kevin, how many panels do you have?
24.
There you go. Look at that. Rocking in the 20s. I like it. The roaring 20 panels. With that being said, take me through. I will just assume, because I thought, well, how long do these last normally? Yours are 12 years old, Chris?
Well, the garage system is 12 years old. The panels are warranted, are guaranteed for 25 years.
Wow.
And the solar power comes off of the solar panels at DC, direct current, and so it has to be converted to AC current so it's compatible with Ameren. So another component, major component, is getting an inverter to change the power from DC to AC. An inverter is guaranteed for over 12, 14 years, something like that.
It depends on the model, but through our program, the vendor offers an inverter that's guaranteed for 25 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's a super deal.
That's news to me.
Yeah. We're all learning today.
Right. So that's an awesome deal. And then I had a friend who signed a contract this year through a program to go solar with us, and her system is estimated to receive a payback of 5 years. So it's paid for itself after 5 years, but she's going to get free energy after that for the next 20, essentially, right? So that's an amazing deal, an amazing investment.
Yeah.
Not everybody's deal is going to work out like that. Some may not get as many SRECs from their system, but that's an example. That should be very, I think, enticing to folks.
Right. Well, and Kevin, before we move on and go into some of the, nitpicky questions that I always like to call them, the ins and outs of things, the fine print, how long have you had yours? Because I know you mentioned it earlier, but you've had yours for quite a while, too.
Yeah, my oldest ones are 12 years old, so they're about halfway through their warranted lifespan. And because they used to cost so much, I was an early adopter, right? I spent much more. And even though I designed it and installed it myself to save those labor expenses, it still cost me much more then that it will cost today for an installation of the same capacity, the same amount of production.
So the softball question would be, would you wish you had Grow Solar back then to be a part of the boat, that option?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. And then one question I do have for this, and it was brought, Chris, you made a great point during the break that I would never even have thought of, is my favorite word in the world, HOA, Homeowners Association, the friends of everybody. Is this okay to do with anyone that's having to deal with those issues?
Well, there's a law that was, I'm not sure when it was enacted.
In the past couple of years.
Okay.
A few years, and it does not allow homeowners associations to prohibit, they can't prohibit solar installations. So most of the homeowners associations have got that in their, in their lexicon, but there are some who are resistant, and they just need to be a little gentle persuasion, let them see what the law said, and then, I had to do that with my first system, but it worked out, so
right.
It's just a matter of, being nice to people, and particularly, the chairman of your homeowners association. So it works out that way for people.
And another thing too is for me, some people might complain about, well, I don't know if I like the look of them. They don't bother me at all. And I have, there's neighborhoods in Alton where they have their whole roof covered in solar panels. And I honestly, maybe it's just me being, with my own ego and staying in my own world, but none of that really gets to me at all. I don't ever see those issues.
Sure, yeah, I've had people tell me, I don't want those ugly things on my roof. And I think, or my response is, well, it's saving me this much money and it's reducing my impact on the environment and the climate. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. To me, it's like, why the hell are you looking at my roof? That's just my question. So with that being said, circling back, there is a power hour scheduled tentatively for this coming Thursday, the 28th of September, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the City of Alton Council Chambers on 101 East 3rd Street, co-hosted by the City of Alton. But if you can't make that one, that could have a reschedule, so stay tuned to growsolar.org/metro-east. But the virtual power hour for Wednesday, October the 4th, this is all by Zoom, and I might be a part of this because I want to learn more. From noon to 1 p.m., you can register online by clicking just Zoom, click to register. It's a pretty easy website, and you can sign up and learn more.
And there's likely going to be another live power hour in Collinsville at the Collinsville Council Chambers.
Okay.
And also one is being planned in Edwardsville at the Edwardsville Library. So it's nice to have that support from the library and the municipality hosting our Grow Solar Power Hour. So.
Absolutely. And I just think this is great because if you go to growsolar.org/gateway or /metro-east, you can see a consumer guide too, which I think is really helpful. And I'm sure that a lot of people that come in go, they have all of the same questions before the power hour starts. Right. Then by the end of them, I'm sure almost all of them are pretty much answered. Are there any gray areas right now where it comes to this solar program? Like we were mentioning a little bit of HOA, but that was just a little bit of a clear up. Are there any gray areas where someone has to be a little hesitant of, getting them installed and all that good stuff?
Well, sometimes we run into situations where somebody's living in a historic district and there are some regulations and some bureaucracy behind that. So they might require some attention,
Right.
We've had people lose their ability to go solar because of those restrictions they put in, but hopefully you can work with the panel to make it happen.
And the roof needs to be what we call solar ready. And if it's 5 or 6 years old, that's going to be okay. But if you're thinking about this, you can kind of plan ahead and if your roof needs to be replaced, do it as soon as possible, and then you can plan on doing it.
How much do those panels weigh?
Oh my gosh, about 50, 60 pounds?
Generally 45 to 55 pounds.
Wow. I didn't realize they were that heavy. I mean, that's kind of, I thought I was expecting maybe 5 pounds, but these are really nicely produced. These are great.
Well, these things are, they're maybe 3.5 by 5.5 feet, and they're only an inch thick. They have an aluminum frame around them to make them rigid so that they can be tied down to the rooftop. But they're not that heavy, and if your home is within code, it should have no problem supporting a solar project.
Well, that's I just think there's really not a lot of questions left that I have, because this seems like a really good opportunity for some people to really save money on their energy bill, and most importantly, kind of work on our carbon footprint and making sure that we're keeping our environment safe and doing the best that we can for it. Are there any bits of information that both of you could leave with our audience? Say, I know I've told you 20 minutes. I always tell you like 15 minutes, and here we are a half hour later. What is there anything that you can give our audience from your personal experience with either your own projects or these power hours that would help them get prepared?
Well, we invite people to come visit, and we're happy to share. It helps. I had 3 people in my subdivision came by, and they went to a power hour and they made a decision. So there is an association called the Illinois Solar Education Association, or ISEA, and ISEA is a really good source to get a list of contractors, and the contractors that we have been using are also ISEA members. So it's a good source for people to use. If you want to get a bid from another contractor, before you go this route, go to ISEA. Just Google ISEA. I don't have it on top of my head, but it's a good source, for researching your project.
Absolutely.
Just to note, Chris and I don't make money.
Right.
We're volunteers.
We're volunteers. Yeah. We don't get kickbacks. I don't take speaker fees. This is my hobby. One of my too many hobbies. Sounds kind of nerdy, but it's a hobby. And I like helping people learn how to adopt solar energy. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier on, and I don't think any of us did, was that in the Metro East, we define Metro East as Madison County, St. Clair County, and Monroe County. So if you're in any of those counties, you're eligible to participate in our program.
Well, that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. Duh, CJ, what we missed? I buried the headline, I think, with that. Chris, Kevin, I really appreciate your time and really educating our audience, and I hope that so many of us do turn out to those power hours. For more information, you can just go to growsolar.org/gateway, and then it will have 2 sections, the Metro East side of things and then the other side of things, depending on what part of the region you're watching this from, as we keep hitting those listener milestones. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by.
If you get any callers who want to get this card, we'll leave this one with you. I've got a couple more, and all we have to do is actually go to Grow Solar Gateway.
Absolutely. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And more of our daily show comes back. We have a really cool conversation with Ann Montgomery. She was one of the first female sportscasters on ESPN. She had a great career covering the Phoenix Suns. We go talk to her about her career and, some of those pros and cons to being around sports and how it betters you potentially as a person. Ann joins us next, right after this quick break on our daily show.